there, folks. Welcome to the channel. I'm glad you could make it because in today's episode, we get to try the original Taylor pork roll. Buddy of mine just got back from the States. While he was in Jersey, he called me up and he said, Eric, do you want anything? I said, bring me some pork roll. I got to try it. He brought me 2 packs, and today we're going to be getting into it. Let me tell you why I'm so excited about trying this on camera. If you're new to the channel, every October we do a show called Celebrate Sausage. We're currently working on Season 6. Well, last year, in Season 5, we dedicated an entire episode to the Taylor ham, or the Taylor pork roll. The only problem is that I had never had it before, and I wanted to recreate the Taylor brand. And I realize that there's other brands of pork roll out there, but Taylor is the original. And over the last 80 so years, it's become this iconic sausage, so much so that the national sandwich in New Jersey is the Taylor ham, egg, and cheese, which we'll be making as well in this video. And so I wanted to make it as authentic as I could, but having never had it, I had to rely on other people's opinions and perspectives of what they thought about it. So I called everyone I knew who is from Jersey, watched every YouTube video that I could find, went to every blog post that I could find. I even called Taylor Provisions and just gathered all this information about the Taylor pork roll. Come to find out, there's a lot of varying opinions of how this tastes. Some say it's salty, some say it's smoky, some say it's tangy. The Taylor pork roll is a lacto-fermented sausage, which simply means that it is fermented using bacteria that produce lactic acid. The process of producing lactic acid in a sausage is going to naturally lower the acidity. But the question that I had was, how tangy is it? Well, we ended up making this sausage 7 or 8 times before I finally settled on like a 4.7 pH. And you know we're going to be testing the pH of this stuff here in just a second. I'm going to read off the ingredients right quick. It's, you know, they're kind of generic. It just says pork, salt, sugar, spices, lactic acid starter culture, of course, sodium ascorbate, which is a antioxidant and cure accelerator, and then it says it has sodium nitrite and sodium nitrate, probably very, very small amounts of the nitrate, and the sodium ascorbate helps convert all that so that by the time we get it, it is nice and pink without having a high quantity of nitrites. All right, so let's just open it up and see what we've got going on inside. There we go. For those of you who are familiar with this, you guys probably can open your fridge right now and have a half-open pack. I'm loving the thickness of the slice. After all the different times that we made it, what I ended up settling on was a thicker slice. I found that it cooked a little bit better, but I do hear that there are versions of the pork roll that are sliced a little bit thinner. Nice marbling. This is absolutely beautiful. So let's get into it, then we'll taste it. Here we go. This is our pork roll. Now what I want to do first is just take the pH. So we're going to be using a freshly calibrated pH meter from Apera Instruments. This is what we use to make salami and ferments and, you know, cheese and things like that. And let's just see what the actual pH is. Oh yeah, nice. Very cool. Let me tell you, out of the 150 people that I talked to, including Taylor Provisions. Now Taylor Provisions clearly wasn't going to give up the secrets, but in just, you know, other sausage makers and people that I talked to, not a single person could tell me what the pH was of the Taylor pork roll. Well, now we know 4.73, 4.74. We absolutely nailed the pH in our original recipe. And if you haven't seen it yet, let me just give you a couple highlights from that video, and then we'll give it a smell and give it a taste. Before we do anything, we're going to give it a good old sniffy sniff. So let's see what it smells like. Huh, okay. Interesting. I am getting a very pork forward element, obviously. So the spices are very subtle, at least on the nose. Yeah, it's very pleasant, very mild, actually. It'll be interesting to see how it tastes. When I look at the pork roll, and you guys could help me out here. Let's look at it together. All right, when we look at the pork roll, I'm not getting a lot of red specks, you know, indicating the presence of paprika, of cayenne pepper. I do not believe that it has those spices in it. I think that this is a very simply spiced sausage. It smells pretty simple. Let's just take one of these slices here. Wow, it's interesting. It smells like ham, but it doesn't smell like ham. When I asked everybody that I talked to about how they felt like it was smoked, it was almost like it was polarizing. Some say that it wasn't smoked. Some say that it was smoked. Well, Taylor themselves said that it was smoked. And I got to be honest, it doesn't have an overly smoky aroma. Like if it's smoked, it's very lightly smoked. Kind of a bacon kind of element. I'm really picking up like a bacon aroma, but not quite as smoky. So, you know, let's like a very lightly smoked bacon. Okay. Texture-wise, very well bound together, as it should be. It'd be weird if it wasn't. Okay, let's just kind of rip a piece off right here. Okay. This is definitely not an emulsified sausage. It certainly looks finely ground, though. So if I had to just guess, I'm guessing maybe it's partially emulsified and then mixed together. I would imagine probably they're using a buffalo chopper on some level, but they're not fully emulsifying it yet because you can clearly see fat particles, pork particles. Okay, enough of that. Going in. Huh, wow. Interesting. Right off the bat on the tongue, I do find it a little salty. But typically products like this are generally going to be heavily salted, more for preservation. It's not like, you know, we can make them at home and salt it exactly what we want. I mean, these guys are probably keeping theirs for quite some time. It says here, used by April the 20th, 2025. That's more than 3 months from now. So it has a pretty significant shelf life, partially because of the salt and then partially because of the pH. That lower pH sort of keeps bad bacteria from wanting to grow on it. Okay. Very mild spice profile. Very interesting. Beautiful mouthfeel. A little greasy. You know, although it's salty, it's not overwhelming. Like, it's not unedible. I do believe that the salt is probably balanced out by the sugar. Let's see here. Yep, there's definitely sugar. I could see why some people would think this is tangy, and I could see why other people would think that this isn't tangy. It was kind of like a weird mix of reactions when I asked folks all over the place. Is it tangy? Is it not tangy? 4.7. 4.75, you know, that's kind of like right in that space where depending on the person's palate, depending on the person who's eating it, it may go one way or the other. I think if the pH was any lower, it would definitely give you that punch of acidity, that punch of sourness that would not pucker up and get ready, but that would definitely let you know, yeah, this is 100%. You know, tangy, whereas this can kind of go either way. I'm loving the acidity. In ours, I love the acidity as well. I thought it was great. All right, let me make up a quick Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sandwich and, you know, eat it the way that it's supposed to be eaten and just kind of get the entire experience. I'm loving the thickness of this. I'm loving the amount of slices. I mean, to me, this looks like a single serving. Let me know what you think. When you guys buy this in Jersey, is this basically just like one sandwich? That's awesome. All right, I'm going to be right back with the sandwich already made. We'll see you in a minute. Change of plans. Guess what? I just remembered that I actually have some of the pork roll that I made for Celebrate Sausage. I had it in the freezer and was saving it for this very occasion. And what I want to do before we cook up a sandwich, a side-by-side taste test. So let's just kind of look at both of them. There we go. Let me know in the comment section below. What do you think? Theirs is a bit pinker, a bit brighter Maybe they've used a higher percentage of nitrites with the cure accelerator. And the fat is definitely cut up a lot finer is what it looks like, whereas mine tends to have more visible particle definition. All right. They don't even smell alike. This one is slightly smokier, but still not like ultra smoky. This one definitely has a more smoky presence. Yeah, theirs is definitely more subtle, and it's neat to compare these side by side. Let me know in the comment section below, have you made our version of the pork roll from Celebrate Sausage? Let's give this another smell. I gotta admit, I really like this one. I mean, this has a slightly more ham-forward aroma coming from it. Okay, I can't really compare this to anything else. I've never smelt a piece of charcuterie quite like this. I'm not hating it. It's just different. It's totally different. Okay, so let me taste theirs again, and we're just gonna get into it. Okay. Going in. Wow. Those are two different products. Totally. We didn't even come close. I'm going to be completely honest with you. We nailed the pH, but that's about it. As far as flavor profiles between the two, the Taylor pork roll is kind of doing its own thing. Yeah, wow, that is wild. One more time with ours. The one we made does have more of that unctuous quality. So maybe they're not using, 45% fat, but it's the way that they mix it that makes it look like they're using 45% fat, because ours definitely has a fattier feel to it, mouthfeel wise. It's not, if I hold it, it doesn't feel greasy. Ours is certainly not as salty. Ours, I will say, does have a fresher flavor. And look, I don't mean anything by that. I'm just making an observation. And it's what you would expect when you have commercially produced, charcuterie, or in this case, a pork roll. I think that the Taylor pork roll actually has a slightly better chew, which leads me to believe that the fat content isn't as high as we originally thought, although it looks like it. It's a little more firm. It feels like it has a little bit of a density, where ours is incredibly tender. Not that it's bad, not that it's one's better than the other. It's just different. Okay, if I had to be completely honest, I don't even think we came close to the Taylor pork roll, but I am happy to say that our contribution to the pork roll family is absolutely delicious. It's not exactly the same as this one, but it definitely stands on its own. All right, with that being said, let's fix up the national sandwich for New Jersey, the Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. Let's just dive right on in. I gotta tell you, that's pretty dang good. The ketchup and the egg yolk, as well as the cheese, that kind of helps balance out a little bit of that saltiness from the Taylor pork roll. Overall, great sandwich. Our version and this version, they are not the same. They might have the same pH, but the flavor profile is totally different. If you are familiar with the pork roll and you make sausage, give our recipe a shot. Let me know in the comment section below which one you like better. I'm on the fence, if I had to be totally honest. Both were good in their own way. Our version was certainly more fresh tasting, not nearly as salty. Definitely had a higher fat content, which I kind of liked. It also had a slightly more smoky, not a lot, but just a little bit more smoky and hammy flavor. That was our version. Taylor pork roll, completely different mouthfeel, which just gives you a totally different experience. It's a little more dense.
It kind of has a similar texture to cooked spam, but a little bit fattier.
If I had to guess, I would say they're probably closer to that 35, 38% mark. I'd have to remake the recipe and really play with the spices because their spice profile is totally different.
As strange as it sounds, the first thing that comes to mind when I eat this is salami, like a very pork-forward, simply seasoned salami flavor. I know that sounds weird. And I know that using curing salts will sometimes bring a hammy flavor, but I wouldn't describe the flavor of this pork roll to be hammy. I would definitely consider it to be more porky. And honestly, kind of stands in its own category. I cannot think of another, piece of cured meat that shares a similar flavor profile.
Let me know what your thoughts are about the Taylor brand pork roll. And from what I'm to understand, there's 4 or 5 other brands on the market that sell a similar product. Which one is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching and allowing me to share this first with you guys, this personal experience. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you got any questions, you know where they go. And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Woo. This is like cheesy, meaty, eggy goodness.